Good evening, everyone. This is a meeting of the Borough Council on March 3rd, 2021. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Asbury Park Press and the Two River Times and by posting at the Borough of Highlands Municipal Building and filing with the Borough Clerk all on January 1st, 2021. Please be advised that due to the current state of emergency and public health emergency declared by Governor Phil Murphy and pursuant to executive order in an effort to prevent further COVID-19, the general public will be excluded from Borough Council meetings until further notice. The public will be able to participate in all Borough Council meetings by video conference. Members of the public will be able to give public comment during relevant portions of this meeting. If you want to ask a question or make a statement up to the governing body, please press the raise hand button, then wait to be acknowledged by the clerk before speaking. If you are calling in, please use *9 to raise hand. Please state your name and address for the record before making your statement. There is a 3-minute time limit for your comments. The clerk will inform you when you are near the end of your time and ask you to finish up. Thank you. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will now call roll. Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Mazzola.
Here.
Councilmember Melnick.
Here.
Council President Olszewski.
Here.
Mayor Briand.
Here.
Okay. On tonight's agenda, we have approval of minutes, February 3rd, 2021 regular meeting minutes, and February 3rd, 2021 executive session minutes.
I will offer those.
I'll second.
Okay. Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick.
Yes.
Council President Olszewski.
Yes.
Mayor Briand.
Yes.
Okay. Motion to approve. Tonight, we have one ordinance with public hearing and final adoption, and that is 02109, an ordinance amending Chapter 25 of Borough Code with regard to stormwater management and control.
Before I offer that, I would like the attorney to please do a brief explanation.
As we said at the last meeting, the municipal engineer met with the county, and there was a suggestion by the county to change a technical term in a couple of places. It's a de minimis minor revision. And Bennett, if you want to chime in, but it was basically changing the term BMP to basins in a few sections, correct?
That's correct. It was just a typo in the model ordinance. So it's something that all the towns are having to update.
Right, and BMP is best management practices, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so with that being said, I'll just run through the sections. It's a de minimis revision. In 25.2 under definitions first, the one change they requested was under county review agency, means an agency designated by the County Board of Commissioners, not the chosen freeholders, because that term has been changed. Then under that same section 25.2 definitions, the term stormwater management BMP is replaced with stormwater management basin. The term BMP is replaced with the word basin in both instances. Then when we go to section 25.4, which is stormwater management requirements for major development, under subsection 25.4I4, the term BMP is replaced with the word basins in 2 instances. And in subsection 25.4I5, the term BMP is replaced with the term basins. Similarly, in section 25.8, which are the safety standards for stormwater management basins, the term BMPs is replaced with the term basins throughout, and that would include section 25.8A. The word BMPs would be replaced with basins and the word BMP with basin. Section 25-8B, BMPs would be replaced with basins in 2 instances. 25.8C1, BMP would be replaced with basin in 2 instances. 25.8C3, where it indicates BMP, that would also be replaced with the word basins. 25.8C3, I said, would be BMPs replaced with basins. 25.8C3A, BMP would also be replaced with basin and basins. 25.8C3B, BMPs would also be replaced with the word basins, BMP to basin. 25.8C3C, the words BMPs would be replaced with the word basins. And then finally, in section 25.8D, where it says stormwater management BMPs, the word BMPs is replaced with basins. So essentially, in 25.2, to recap in the definitions, they changed the term chosen freeholders to County Board of Commissioners. And in stormwater management, BMP replaced the term basin, replaced the word BMP with basin. In 25, section 25.4, I4 and I5 replaced the word BMP with basins. And throughout 25.8, replace the words BMPs with basins. This is the minimus amendment. It does not substantially alter the substance of the ordinance in accordance with NJSA 40:49-2. And with that, would you like to make a motion to amend the terms of the ordinance to reflect those changes?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to offer it as amended.
So
second,
this is just a motion to amend
Make the
terms.
changes for
Correct.
consistency. Absolutely, I will make that motion.
second,
I'll second it.
Michelle?
Councilmember Martin,
yes,
Councilmember Mazzola,
she's on mute.
hold on.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Melnick,
Yes,
Council President Olszewski,
yes,
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
So that motion passes with,
To amend
To
the
amend it.
terms, correct. And now you can open it up to the public unless anyone from the council wants to speak, Mayor.
I just want to remind everyone that this ordinance is something that the DEP does every few years. I want to say about every 3 years, as they look at stormwater. And this is basically something that's mandated by the state. With that, I'll open up public portion if anyone has a comment. Michelle, I don't see anyone with a raised hand, do you?
no, I do not, Mayor.
Okay, well then I will close public comment. And with that, I will offer this ordinance.
I'll second.
So this is to adopt the ordinance as amended.
Yes.
Okay. Councilmember Martin,
yes,
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
yes,
Council President Olszewski,
yes,
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Okay, this ordinance has passed on on final reading. Okay. Next, we have one ordinance for introduction, which is O21-13, refunding bond ordinance of the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, providing for the conversion of a short-term debt obligation of the borough into a long-term debt obligation by appropriating an amount not exceeding $2,400,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $2,400,000 general obligation refunding bonds of the Borough of Highlands to accomplish the conversion.
Michelle, can you please unmute Pat de Blasio so he can educate the public on what exactly this bond means?
Of course,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Hi, good evening. So the borough currently has on our books $2,363,000 of a community disaster loan payable. The town has tried multiple times under the mayor's guidance, and she still continues, by the way, to get this loan converted to a grant or forgiven totally. And that's still an option on the table. And maybe the mayor wants to weigh in when I'm finished here. So we got a call from the state, and under the existing plan, we have to repay back this loan as a 3-year payback. And so that's pretty much a heavy budget burden. And knowing that there's a good chance this loan may be forgiven. So the state reached out to us and it said, if we apply to the local finance board, we could extend this debt over a 10-year period. So in fact, we're buying some time. And that's the purpose of this refunding ordinance. It's giving us options. And I think it's a good thing to do. It was recommended by the state. So it's something I'm strongly in favor of proposing tonight. And the second part of this is resolution 21-70. And that's actually allowing us to go in front of the local finance board and explaining this option. We're not alone here, guys. There's about a dozen towns or so doing the same thing. So we're putting all our muscle and our might together to try to get this loan to go away.
And before I do want to speak to this a little bit. I've been spending the last year and 3 months chatting with Representative Pallone's office to try and see if we can't get this forgiven. This, again, is a community disaster loan. This has been hanging out since Sandy. We were hopeful that it would have gotten taken up in the large stimulus package that's before Congress now, but they said that there's still a chance that we can get it forgiven with the next package that they do. So as Pat said, this is just giving us more time in which to pay it back. Instead of, I believe it was 3 years, this is giving us 10 years to pay it back, with the option that we're still working to try to get it forgiven.
Yes.
Does anyone on council have any questions regarding this for Pat? Okay, then with that, I will offer it.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Okay, this ordinance has passed on first reading with public hearing set for March 17, 2021.
Michelle, who introduced it?
I did.
Um,
Okay.
Mayor Brion.
In a second?
I did.
Okay, I didn't hear it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next item on the agenda is resolutions. First, we have R21-66, a resolution authorizing payment of bills.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-67, a resolution authorizing shared service agreement between the Borough of Highlands and the Borough of Seabright for the provision of lifeguard operations from the Borough of Seabright.
And this is just continuing the shared service that we've had for the last few years with Seabright. And with that, I will offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-68, a resolution authorizing the award of a non-fair and open contract for professional services for 2021 irrigation system maintenance.
This is for all of our borough parks. I don't know if Mr. Musillo would like to chime in on this one.
Yeah, this is just for Ederly, Buddy Park, I believe, one other park.
That's in Cornwall.
Yeah, just for providing irrigation services to activate them and for the season.
Okay, thank you for that. And with that, I will offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-69, a resolution of proclamation in support of Assembly Joint Resolution -197, designating the month of May as Law Enforcement and Correctional Police Officer Appreciation Month.
Michelle, do you want to read that? Would you prefer I read that out?
If you would not mind.
Okay,
Thank you.
you are welcome. Resolutions 2169 is a resolution of a proclamation in support of Assembly Joint Resolution 197, designating the month of May as Law Enforcement and Correctional Police Officer Appreciation Month. Whereas law enforcement and correction police officers in the state and throughout the nation are routinely called upon to serve and protect their fellow citizens. And whereas law enforcement officers protect the community by responding to hazardous events and acting heroically to save the lives of others. And whereas correctional officers, police officers, provide public safety and security through the custody and management of those individuals incarcerated within the criminal justice system. And whereas it is increasingly dangerous to perform these jobs in a world where law enforcement and correctional police officers are targeted for the uniforms they wear and the duties they perform in service to their community. And whereas law enforcement and correctional police officers in this state and throughout the nation serve with valor, dignity, and integrity. And whereas as of October 20th, 235 law enforcement officers died in the line of duty in the United States in less than 1 year, including 9 officers in New Jersey. And whereas COVID-19 continues to spread around the country, the first responders on the front lines are increasingly vulnerable to contracting the virus, and at least 8 correctional police officers have died resulting from this pandemic. And whereas these officers' deaths are sober reminders that our nation's law enforcement and correctional police officers face danger every day, they carry out their sworn duty to protect the citizens of this country. And whereas countless other law enforcement and correctional police officers are injured and disabled each year while performing their duties, and whereas these burdens are carried not only by law enforcement and correctional police officers, but also their families who make personal sacrifices in order for these officers to carry out their duties. And in light of recent negativity directed towards law enforcement nationally, there is a need to show law enforcement and correctional police officers that our citizens recognize the difficult career these officers have chosen. And whereas these men and women, by their distinctive service and dedicated efforts as law enforcement and correctional police officers, have earned our highest respect and deepest gratitude. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Highlands hereby support Assembly's Joint Resolution 197, which designates the month of May of each year as being Law Enforcement and Correctional Police Officer Appreciation Month in the state of New Jersey, and further encourages the citizens of the Borough of Highlands and this state to join in the observance of this month and provide appreciation for law enforcement and correctional police officers who serve to protect them. And with that, I will offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Absolutely, yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
Yes.
Mayor Bouillon.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-70, a resolution of the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, making application to the Local Finance Board pursuant to NJSA 40A:2-26.
As Pat said, this is the resolution that's just authorizing us to go to the county and make the application to the Local Finance Board. So with that, unless anyone has any question, I will offer that.
Second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
Yes.
Mayor Bouillon.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-71, a resolution authorizing purchase of electronic document management services.
This resolution is to contract with a company that is going to streamline our records and data management. They will also go through and destroy any records that are that we don't need to hold on to anymore. That will catalog all of these records so that we can find them better, and then we can start on the scanning process. This is something I've been trying to get in place for a number of years, so I'm very happy to introduce it.
And I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-72, a resolution approving plant sale at Huddy Park.
This is for the Garden Club to conduct their annual plant sale the day before Mother's Day at Huddy Park. And with that, I will offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-73, rescinding Resolution 21035, authorizing the purchase of emergency equipment.
This was just an error in that when we authorized this resolution, the company that came to the borough and to the first aid squad was not actually authorized to sell us the equipment that we wanted to buy. And then the following resolution, 2174, is authorizing the person that's actually authorized to purchase the equipment. And these are power loader systems that would be in our first aid rigs, and that would help out the first aid squad in order to get folks into the rigs. So with that explanation, I will offer 2173.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. The last resolution we have is R2174, a resolution authorizing purchase of emergency equipment.
And this is the actual power loaders that I just spoke of. So with that, I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Brian, I need to abstain because Stryker is a client of mine. So unfortunately, I need to abstain. I can't weigh in.
okay, thank you. Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries to adopt. Next item on agenda is other business. First, we have playgrounds and park updates.
I would like Ben to weigh in on our extension of the open space grant. And then I can go into other purchases that we're looking at for playground equipment.
Yes, I believe I reported at the last meeting that the Monmouth County granted an extension for the open space grant for Snug Harbor Park to March of 2022. So that has been granted, and we're working with your administrator to keep that project moving.
Outstanding, thank you. The other things that we are looking at is Ron Bryce, our DPW superintendent, has been very busy over the last couple of months, and he's been getting a lot of costs for playground equipment in Huddy, not just playground, but playground and I guess active equipment. So people could work out in the parks out of doors where they're safer. And we've been looking at a number of different companies, and he's been getting a lot of costs. He's also reached out to one of the skate park companies that we were dealing with when Jack Eakins was trying to get something done over at the skate park. But so we're just waiting for some costs to get back. The really good news here is that a lot of these costs that are incurred for outdoor space, whether it be open space or just our regular parks, some of that can be covered under the CARES Act for reimbursements. So I have a great opportunity here to purchase equipment that has been outdated and have it reimbursed by the county.
That's nice.
Does anyone at the table have any questions regarding that?
Just one question. And it's great news, you know, in getting residents more ways to enjoy the outdoors and stay healthy and stay safe. Some of the equipment we do have, and especially the gate at Veterans Park around the existing playground, that's been missing for quite some time. Just hoping that we can make that as a short-term agenda item to resolve, so that folks who have small children can not have to worry about them running loose through that gate.
Absolutely. He's reached out to Liberty Fence, and he's getting a cost on that as well, that replacement gate.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding parks? Okay. Something that's come up over the years is, and I just wanted to discuss it here with everybody, in front of everybody, that we currently have an ordinance for no dogs in the park. I see both sides of this, but dogs are widely in our parks, so it seems that no one pays attention to this ordinance. I don't know if it's, you know, maybe we could tweak it to have dogs in the park, but perhaps they are always on leash. Just something I wanted to put out there to everybody to start thinking about, because as people are outdoors more, and I believe they will continue to do so no matter what happens with this virus, I just wanted to put it on everybody's radar and let everyone know that we're thinking about it. We see that it can be a possible issue either way, and it's something that we want to make sure still works for our town. Does anyone have any thoughts or comments on that?
I think it would be a consistent approach when we put the dog cleanup bags right in front of the park and then say, but don't have a dog here. It doesn't quite jive.
Very true.
Yes.
Are we moving in any way towards a dog park? Is that thought out there, or?
It's something that I'm trying to discuss at the county level, because we're surrounded by county parks.
Mhm.
As of course, you know, the wheels of government turn slowly.
Yeah.
It would be great if we could get something done in that fashion where if it's in a county park, then it removes the borough from liability issues. It removes the borough from staffing issues. But like I said, we're in early days chatting with the county about that. I'm hopeful that we'll get something accomplished there.
That would be great, Carolyn.
Absolutely. The next thing actually came out of a session at the League of Municipalities, and that is adopting just another way that we can get revenue in town. Nothing extraordinary or extravagant, but that's to adopt a commercial filmmaking ordinance and permit. Now, both Middletown and Red Bank both have these things in place, and it's pretty much like a day rate. Plus, if DPW or police, that it gets reimbursed. So I would ask everyone to go out to those websites at Middletown and Red Bank and take a look at what they already had in place. And it really seems like they copied each other, because their ordinances and permits are almost exactly alike. So I'm not looking to and of course, you know, families making a film would never be, you know, would need this permit. There's a commercial permit, and then there's a lower permit for independent filmmakers. So just something that I feel that we can look at. It's really low-hanging fruit. So I don't know if anyone has any questions about that.
No, I just wanted to say, I mean, as a person who makes a good portion of his living in filmmaking, this area, the Bayshore in general, is a sort of prime real estate for a lot of film productions. I know about a year ago they were filming the prequel to Sopranos in Seabright. There's a lot of things that you can do in this area, so it would be lucrative for everyone simply because in comparison to the areas around us, it's kind of untouched. And I think it'd be, I don't see there being a downside to it.
Excellent.
Yeah, I agree.
So if no one has anything else, I'd like to go through to the next. We just passed a resolution for the Garden Club to have their sale, as they normally do over the past few years, for right before Mother's Day over at Huddy Park. And I believe it was last meeting, somebody brought up charging nonprofits for the use of the park. So I brought up the fee ordinance, which is 2018. And I wanted to discuss with council, do we waive fees for nonprofits? Do we waive a fee for, I mean, the ones that go in the parks are pretty much the Lions Club, the Garden Club, and the business partnership. Should we base it on how many days? I mean, there's a million ways that we can chunk it down, but I just think that we need to have something that Councilman Martin brought up before, where we have something in place, even if it gets waived, for there to be something on paper, some sort of a contract, something that says, here's my insurance certificate, these are the days, these are the hours, something to that effect. So I just wanted to put that on everybody's radar. And obviously none of these things need to happen tonight, but it's that I wanted to have the discussion with everyone. None of these things meet the merit of executive session, nor should they. But I wanted to have the discussion in front of everyone so they know about the things that we're thinking of doing. Any discussion on that? At least for now.
I think that it's a little bit more complicated, as you expressed,
Exactly.
than just saying, okay, here's the fee, and that's the end of it. I think that it should depend on what the usage is, the time period, how long the usage is going to be for. You know, if our DPW has to be involved in any way, you know, there's a lot of different things. So,
absolutely. So I just wanted to kick off that conversation so that we can start thinking about it and we can continue the conversation in further meetings. And the last thing came up through the first few meetings of the Green Team and the Environmental Commission from Mr. Martin, where there was very little show from the folks over at the Green Team. I had let him know that there are sample ordinances on the Sustainable Jersey site where the Environmental Commission, which by the way is a statutory commission, they're both advisory boards, but there are sample ordinances on the Sustainable Jersey site that have the Environmental Commission doing the work of the Green Team or acting as the Green Team. We would need to change some of the ordinance for Green Team and the ordinance for Environmental Commission. But if we have such a problem getting, I believe there's 12 members of the Green Team, and I think 2 people showed up the last 2 meetings, that's a problem. So if we have that low of a response rate, and even though I said in a couple of meetings, hey, there's openings on these commissions and nobody seems to be interested, maybe we merge them. And they have a very similar mission statement. So I think it would be, as we are such a small town, I think it would be something that we should have a look at.
Would part of that the conversation include where those appointments go? Do they get combined into the single committee, and then, you know, is there kind of a resolicitation of those on both teams to say, do they want to be part of this larger organization? Like, is that all part of that?
Exactly, that would be all part of retooling both ordinances.
Yeah.
I think maybe too, we need to do a better job of maybe some outreach. I think I really think the onus is on us to be reaching out to our residents and drumming up interest. Because, I mean, if we look right now, there are 45 participants on this call. And there's quite a few of us and our professionals. So I think really we as a council should be doing a better job of reaching out and trying to drum up interest in all of these different committees. So maybe between now and next meeting, we can try and do that a little bit.
Sure. And I'll just say it from being on the green team for 3 years, the lion's share of the work of submitting for points was done by 2 people. And that's not equitable, and that's not what we want to see. But anyway, like I said, we can discuss further.
Yeah, and I
Definitely solicit more volunteers for our committees.
Yes, and I think that it's also important that, you know, it always turns out this way, that the same people are always volunteering. So I think it's really important that we do commit to this outreach, because we want, you know, a diverse voice in all of these type of committees. It's really important.
Absolutely agree. And with that, I believe we have the engineer's report.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I'd like to say is, I'm sure it'll come up in the public portion, so I'll just get it over with. The soil testing over at Captain's Cove, the follow-up soil testing was performed. We got our report back. It indicated that the dredged material has been removed from the site, and that the levels of beryllium that were tested for were below the most stringent DEP standards.
Thank you for that. Does anyone have any questions for Bennett? Okay, Mr. Musillo, it's time for your report.
I have a short report tonight. I have a meeting scheduled with FEMA on Friday to discuss reimbursements and some of our submissions. I have a meeting with Freehold Township scheduled for this Friday to discuss some shared services. We're still looking into credit card payments and payment modules for the website. Bennett and I also have a meeting this week to discuss some proposals and some ongoing projects. That's all I have for tonight.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have anything else they want to say before I open it up to the public?
I do not.
All good? All good? Okay, where's my thing? Here you go. Open up to the public.
Sorry, I was on mute. Okay, the first one I see is Chris.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Chris Francie, 36 5th Street in Highlands. I have 2 quick questions. Apropos of outreach on the green team and the environmental team. The chairman of the environmental team only found out about your plan by somebody prompting him, hey, I didn't hear this from the discussion or looking at the agenda. So communications is important. Steve isn't sure. Are you going to give us the agenda, not the agenda, the goals and objectives of the green team?
We sure will. This is really just a preliminary discussion.
Okay.
Of whether we should do it or not, but I wanted to have this discussion in front of the public.
Okay.
I also want to say that, I mean, I'm supposed to be meeting with Steve, but like I determined that until we knew if we were going to actually do it, I didn't bring it up. I know we broached it every so often in the last meeting, but it wasn't something definitive. So
We've talked about it enough. Just be aware that Steve was a little bit out of his nose bent out of shape a little bit. Didn't know what was coming. That's
Got
all. The second point that's a little more important, Mayor you mentioned during the meeting yesterday about flood control projects, and there are a number of them, I think you said, and they are bonded, and I wasn't sure what I was hearing completely, but could I ask for a flood control report and with details on what's already being thought about, what's been funded, blah, 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 that we can start keeping track of it. You know, and I know we completed the Snug Harbor bulkhead and then new check valve. I go down there looking to see if I can see that the check valve is working, that I should see the water outside higher than the water on the inside, but I haven't been able to get down there at the right time. But I think, you know, keeping track of the flood control projects in some degree of detail, what's been funded, what needs to get done, what engineering firm is assigned to it, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay,
I appreciate that, Mayor. Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you.
Next, we have Jay Smith.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, I wanted to start off with what I had emailed to you in private. Last night's meeting was very, very well done. The council was considerate in hearing questions, and the architect, Mr. de Blasio, and yourself, Ms. Mayor, you were real informative and thorough in your answers. It was greatly appreciated. I only have 2 questions for this evening. The engineer beat me to my first question. But has the borough been successful in securing payment for the engineer's report and the testing that was required due to the dumping of spoils in the borough right away? And has the engineering firm and the testing company been paid for the 2,038-page report and the associated testing? And that's the only 2 things I have tonight.
Can you just state your address, sir? I'm sorry, I missed it in the beginning.
I apologize. It's Jim Smith, 380 East Van Dorn Avenue, Holly Springs, Mississippi.
Thank you very much.
But with respect to reimbursement, there are still ongoing discussions in that regard. With respect to payment, I'd have to defer to the borough, to the administrator.
Thank you.
I believe that some of the payments has already been done for some of the work there, because it dates back a while. I can get a full accounting for the next meeting and report on it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I believe next is Sheila W.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
Sheila Weinstock, 151 Highland Avenue. I have been asked to read out loud a letter which is being addressed to the mayor and the members of the council. And it goes like this. Dear Mayor and Council, I received a notice of inspection failure report on Monday, March 1st, dated February 25th, warning me that I will be subject to a summons if snow and ice is not removed within the 12-hour cessation of a storm as per the town ordinance. I would like to remind you that we were double-barreled by 2 storms that week of February 20th. And after the second storm, there was 1 inch of thick ice under the snow that was impossible to remove. My property is on a corner. I am also obliged to maintain the area along 2 streets, Highland Avenue and Woodland Street. I do not have a driveway, so I will note here that every effort to dig out my car is further complicated by the DPW plows that invariably plow my car back in. I was essentially trapped for 4 days. I'm a 72-year-old retired resident of the borough on a fixed income and beset with several physical ailments, such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and spinal stenosis, causing a current sciatica condition for which I'm under treatment. As mentioned previously, I am on the fixed income, so I registered for help on the borough website to no avail. I did have 2 people approach my home to dig me out. The charge was unaffordable. The only reason I was able to get out of my back door was that a young man on his way home from Henry Hudson Regional saw me struggling with a shovel and offered his help. Many people in town can rely on neighbors or family to help. However, most of my neighbors are also elderly, and my son is in Louisiana. I would like to propose a more effective volunteer effort, considering that the volunteer effort we have now doesn't work. Here's my idea. We sign up volunteers, particularly those who are younger, healthier, and more able to handle physical labor. Perhaps first aid squad members, volunteer fire department members, high school kids, college students, etc. And I suggest that a reasonable charge, $25 to $50, or whatever one can reasonably afford, be collected for this labor, and the amount be donated to the Highlands First Aid Squad, our volunteer fire department, or other community group by that resident receiving the service. I would be happy to pay a reasonable fee considering my fixed income. A $25 to $50 donation is something I could do as opposed to a $125 to $150 charge. Those who come out to do these jobs know a moneymaker when they see it. And of course, that's fine for some, but not for those of us seniors in the borough who are constrained by our circumstance. I would very much appreciate the council making an attempt to help me and other Highland seniors to conform to the ordinances as they are outlined. And I thank you for listening, and thank you for the efforts on behalf of the senior citizens in Highlands. And a copy of this letter is going to be sent to the council and the mayor. That's it.
Thank you, Sheila. We will let us brainstorm on how we can make this happen. As Councilmember Mazzola said, we need to spur some interest from our town members to help other folks in town like yourself that need an extra hand.
Sheila, is there an address next to that letter? I don't know if she's muted or not. Oh, she's muted.
That's okay, I have it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Kim Skorka.
Kim Skorka, Short Drive. I just have a comment on allowing dogs in the parks. We have a problem with owners not picking up after their dogs, and I really don't think you want your kids playing in a feces-filled park. I have a dog, and there's kids in town. He's small. He's 14 pounds. He's a happy boy. And there's kids in town who are afraid of the dog. And I don't think putting dogs where kids play happily and should feel safe, I don't think it's in the best interest of the kids in town. And I'm all for the kids over the dogs. I have a question on merging the Green Team into the Environmental Committee. It was my understanding the Green Team was established in order to get us points in the community rating system. If we merge them, do we lose those points?
The Green Team was not started to do CRS. That is a completely different thing that needs to be done by a floodplain manager. We joined Green Team to take advantage of grants from Sustainable Jersey. A lot of the small towns, small meaning under 10,000, have their environmental commission serve as their Green Team. So it's not that we're losing being the Green Team. We're just discussing as to whether we should have them take over some of those duties.
And I know the Green Team was not doing the work for the CRS. I thought we got points in the system because we had a Green Team.
We would still have a Green Team.
Okay.
The functionality would just be done by the Environmental Commission.
Okay.
That's the thought, at least. But we're going to discuss it.
Okay. And is the borough continuing to work on getting us into the CRS system?
We were honestly until COVID happened, because that was really knocked the wind out of our sails for a lot of things getting done in 2020. In fact, one of our residents has incredibly offered to help us through the process, as he is a floodplain manager for another town, and he brought that other town through it. And we were working on getting that all together, and then COVID happened and all the wheels went off the bus. But it's not off the radar. It's just not on our top 10 right now, especially since the zones changed and everyone's flood insurance was greatly reduced.
Okay, if we can move that up, because even though everybody's flood insurance was greatly reduced, every cost savings you can give this town is going to be a big help in offsetting the cost of the new municipal building.
Absolutely.
And just one last question, where do we stand on the JFK EMS service being shared with the other boroughs?
I will let Mr. Musillo answer that one.
I have some meetings scheduled in the next couple of weeks. I was out, unfortunately, for the prior couple of weeks with COVID, so I'm a little backed up on that, but I'll have a report at the next meeting for that.
Okay, thank you.
Next, there's no name associated. I just see a number. It's 19175178994.
Yes, hi. Are you talking to me now?
Yes.
Yes, hi. Tina Kemmer, 164 Linden Avenue. Hi there, everybody. Hi, Council and Mayor. It's been a while. I've been listening to some of the older meetings, and I have one question and one comment. So my question is has to do with during the COVID time of COVID, what I've noticed in my complex, and just an addendum, is that Mr. Boyce and his DPW crew have done an awesome job. Especially through the snowstorms, particularly in my complex. So I just want to say thank you. They're tremendous. The question is this, is that in my complex, what I've noticed, and I'm sure you all have noticed it too, there has been a tremendous increase in the amount of cardboard and deliveries and such from FedEx and all that stuff, and UPS and so forth. And so what I'm seeing is that the recycle bins have been completely overwhelmed. The schedule that we have with the Wednesday that is like the 5th Wednesday of the month in certain times, it's just overwhelming. It's just not enough, you know, the schedule just doesn't allow for the amount of refuse that needs to be picked up. So I'm wondering if, and I spoke with Mr. Boyce about that, and he said there was not much that could be done on his end, that it is really more of a budgetary thing that through, you know, the council with the sanitation company that we use. Is there any chance that there is a renegotiation, that there would be slightly more frequent or more regular 2-week recycle pickup than what we currently have? Because it just doesn't seem to be working in my complex. And then I had one comment, if I had enough time.
You do.
Go ahead, Tina.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. And the comment has to do with from listening to some of the previous meetings regarding the possibility of medical marijuana in the borough. I was struck by the amount of outside call-ins, you know, me versus as a constituent versus the outside call-ins that I can only call it as something like love bombing, where they just kind of gives accolades to the council and the mayor about how wonderful you are and what a great job you're doing, and how their medical, I think it was Sativa Cross, Jeff King, some other names that are regular call-ins. I would just like to caution the council and the mayor with a decision with any kind of medical marijuana proposals, being that, as the mayor just mentioned a little bit earlier, we are such a small town, and our downtown is even smaller. And our motto is where the Jersey Shore begins. And I would hate to see us being tagged on social media as like the medical marijuana maven, haven at the Jersey Shore. And it just kind of seems like they're like, the troops are circling in, and that they're trying to corral us into making, something that may not necessarily jibe with our master plan. So that was my comment, is just to, and I'm sure that you're taking that into consideration, but, all of these outside influences kind of are reminiscent of when we had that big structure on the beach, and we had so many outside folks, and they're not speaking for us as the constituents. So I do appreciate you listening to me as far as that is concerned, and hopefully moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Tina.
I would like to just say, hi, Tina, how are you?
Hi, how are you, Linda?
I'm good.
Good to hear your voice.
It's so nice to hear from you. I just wanted to add that and make it clear that allowing the sale of marijuana in town does not only mean that we're allowing medicinal, it opens the door for medicinal and recreational. And that's something that we all have to keep in mind.
Thank you.
And then I think you had a question. Mayor, are we going to address Tina's question in reference to the potentially having more pickups for recycling?
That would need to be a contract that would need to be renegotiated. And say that the DPW yard is open 3 days a week, and you could bring cardboard there. If your cardboard is too much for the dumpsters at your condo association.
Right. Mr. Boyce had brought that up. It may be a bit of a burden for my complex, just because we don't have any resources, to I guess tie up and bring that down. But he did bring that information up to me.
I've noticed it too, not only in my complex, but even on the streets. So, and I think maybe it's because people are working from home now. I don't know, or people are just not going out and purchasing goods. Everybody's just ordering everything. That may be a large contributing factor.
Yes, I agree.
Cutting it in smaller pieces is a pain in every part of your body, but it does make it more manageable to deal with. I've gotten very good with that little angled knife thing, whatever it is, to make it more manageable.
Thank you, Tina. We need to move on to the next person.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And the next person would be Michelle Pizzullo.
Hi,
Mute.
She muted herself.
Yeah.
You're muted, Michelle. There you go.
yes. Okay, kept flipping back, but thank you. I had my dates mixed up between last night and tonight with the Borough
Michelle,
Hall
I
meeting.
think you need to get name and address.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry,
thank you.
Michelle Pizzullo, 115 Highland Avenue. So,
Sorry.
Oh, you're back on mute.
I didn't touch it. It keeps going off. Okay, see, my hands are up here. So Just a comment on the meeting last night. It was very good. I was able to watch it on YouTube, so thank you for making that available. I do have some questions, but I need to do some research on my own because I may just be able to answer them myself. But as far as tonight, I just have a question and a little bit of a comment. The question is about the $2.3 million community disaster loan and going for a 10-year extension. Does the interest rate change on that? Or is there no interest rate? So do we get charged for 10 years more on that interest rate, or is it like kind of like held? That's my one question. And then my comment.
I am unsure if, oh, Patrick, you are here.
There we go. So what would happen, and thank you for the question, what would happen is if we did go out for the 10-year bond, we would be subject to the bond interest rate.
Okay.
Right now, yeah, so it would be changed. It would be in fair market, and anything can happen in the fair market, but yes, interest would change.
Okay, and then based on that, it would be that much more to the taxpayers for that fair market interest rate, correct?
It could be higher, it could be lower, but yeah, more than likely it could be a bit higher.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. And my comment is in reference to Council Person Mazzola. Thank you for pointing out that you may need to do more outreach, because I had no idea that there were committees that needed to be filled. You were correct that there were 44 at the time that you commented, and now it's 47. At one point it was 50 just a little bit ago. So I don't know how that you would be able to accomplish that, but thank you for putting that forward. And I would love to see what's available, what the criteria would be, and what the mission would be for each committee. So thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. And I believe that you can find, hopefully it's on the new website, but it was on the former website. Yes, all the descriptions of all the committees and the organizations. And there's also a form that you can fill out and submit. Michelle.
Uh-oh, you're muted again. That's okay. It's on the website. If you have any problem finding anything at all, just let me know and I'll email it to you.
Okay, I am, but where on the website would it be? Just a little like direction.
It's under government, and then when you hover over that, it'll come down to a drop-down box and it'll say committees.
Committees
Okay,
and
perfect.
liaisons, and then you go from there and you can expand and you can scroll through all of them from there.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Oh, Lizzie was there and now she's gone.
Yeah, I don't see her anymore. Was she before Tricia?
Yes, but I don't see her on the call. at all.
There she is.
There she is.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, so Lizzie.
She doesn't seem to be unmuting. Hold on a moment.
Hello.
Oh, there you are.
Hi.
Can you
Yeah,
please
no,
state your name and address, please?
oh, sorry, Lizzie Harvey, 16 Washington. My question was answered. That's why I put my hand down.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10-year on that bond. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Tricia R.
Sorry, it wasn't letting me unmute.
That's okay.
Tricia Rivera, 31 Waterwich. I'd like to reiterate what Chris Francie mentioned, that I'd really like to hear more about what's going on with the infrastructure and flood projects. Weekly, whatever council meeting updates, at least once a month would be nice. And I just to answer his question regarding the head wall seems to be working quite well. The problem is on the other side at Captain's Cove, which is flooding us. And I also wanted to ask if Bennett could help with this CRS program, and have we looked into shared services as far as counting the elevated homes for the CRS program? And also I had asked Bennett about the valves in the stormwater project, Waterwitch stormwater project last week, if that was included. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Mayor, so the stormwater improvements are not included in the Bay Avenue and Waterwitch Avenue sanitary sewer project. That would need to be a separate project. I think maybe there might have been some initial discussions when an application was being made to the iBank, but the project that we're working on is for sanitary sewer improvements. Replacing check valves and doing stormwater improvements would be a separate project. Regarding the, I'm sorry, what was the other question?
It was regarding the CRS program.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the CRS program. Yes, we're available to help with that. I know that you're working with a resident in town who's a certified floodplain manager, but we're happy to help as well. I'm also a certified floodplain manager.
Okay, and first of all, I'm really confused because the project was the Waterwitch Sewer Stormwater Project. That's what it was from iBank. So now our stormwater pipes are not going to be replaced and pitched properly. Is that what I'm hearing now?
The project that we're working on is the Bay Avenue sanitary sewer project. Bay and Waterwitch sanitary sewers, which is funded by the iBank.
Bennett, excuse me. I'm asking the council because that's what was passed. It was the Waterwitch Sanitary Stormwater Sewer Project, correct? Am I correct? Which was to replace all the sewer lines and the stormwater pipes. That was the impression that I think everybody got. So I'm not sure how that changed.
Bennett, can you give a slight explanation as to, because I know that you're still in the midst of design, correct?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so can you maybe go into a little bit more detail about the design?
Yeah, so the design is for replacing the sanitary sewers. Obviously, the iBanks, the program is hold on one second, Coastal Community Water Quality Restoration Program, which the genesis for the loan being approved was to stop failing sanitary sewer pipes, which would improve water quality. So that is the main focus of our design is to do that. The project is in still being designed. It's in preliminary phase. So I'm meeting with your administrator this week to review it. So the plans have not been finalized yet.
If I recall correctly, and I think this is at the very beginning of my service, that what prompted this whole project was because we were getting very high bacterial levels at Snug Harbor Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Carolyn, do you remember that? We had very high levels of bacteria, and that was because there were issues from seepage from the sewer. if I recall correctly. And that prompted the previous administration to do some research and work with CME and Doug. And they found this one particular avenue where we could pursue some of the monies. We applied and we were granted, these funds from my bank. No interest loan or what have you.
Linda, I understand all of that. I understand the whole sewer project. I know what's going on underground. I have all the reports. But it was supposed to be sanitary sewer and stormwater. That's what was told to the public.
Well, Tricia, I'm looking at the bond ordinance right now. It's 1823. And it says here, the scope is the improvements are hereby authorized to be undertaken consist of the replacement of failing stormwater and sanitary sewer mains at various locations. Then it lists all the streets. So I don't know if something happened between when we did the bond ordinance and when iBank got involved with funding this, but let us investigate and then we will get back to you.
Okay, thank you. Because I saw them out here doing surveys for the stormwater. So that's why it's really confusing, because it was for the stormwater, where they were doing the surveys. It was not for the sewage. I know where they are placed.
Sorry, you're at your time limit, so if you could just finish your thought, please.
Okay, and then
Thank
my other question was regarding shared services. Can we share services with other municipalities perhaps to count how many homes are elevated for the CRS program to perhaps move it along quicker? And I don't know why we would be using a resident when we have a paid professional also that is a floodplain manager, but that's fine. And that's just a comment.
Go ahead, Linda.
Bennett, would you mind explaining the CRS program to the public?
Well, the CRS program is a program that if a municipality is eligible, can apply for a certification or admission into the program, and you get a certain rating based on your level of flood preparedness. There are several different categories that improve your rating level. And then the higher you're rated, the more of a discount your residents can receive on flood insurance. So I understand that the borough is seeking to join, which is great. It's a very good program, and we're happy to help in any way we can.
Thank you, Bennett. Thank you, Tricia. Like I said, let us investigate and we'll get back to you. Seeing no one else with a hand open, I will motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.